All right, hi, my name is Thomas Randolph. I work with the code review group at GitLab, and we've just recently added a user journey for basically simulating a user moving through parts of the merge request page and just sort of tracking how long that takes and various performance metrics. So I'm gonna walk through today sort of what the stopwatches that we're using are, which timing metrics we're using as you go through that page. So I'll share my screen here to get that up. So on the left here is the actual code. I'll be referring to this just to walk through each individual stopwatch. On the right is the 3 runs that we've had so far for this user journey. One thing to note, and we'll cover this a little bit later too, there's the visited MR overview. And if you move your mouse just slightly up, it changes to overview page done loading, and they're the same time marker. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but you actually can't see the difference here. So those two are the same. So there is actually a second stopwatch in there. So this journey is actually in this repository in the front end group in Sitespeed measurement setup. And there's a workflow called code review, and it's load MR jump to comment. So that's what we're going to be doing. It begins on this fixture repo, which is also in the Sitespeed test group. It's Sitespeed fixture repo. This is just what we're going to use to have our script run through the actual process on production code, essentially. So it begins here. And in fact, that is over here in our script that begins here. We navigate to our URL and then we start measuring. The very first thing it does is select MRs. So it comes over here to the left side, selects MRs. As soon as this page is done loading, which is now, that's the first marker. So if we come back over here, that is MR's list loaded. The next thing it does is it selects this MR. It selects it by this ID at the beginning, and it just clicks on it. As soon as this page is done loading, and this can actually take some time because there's multiple JavaScript requests loading, but for this one, it doesn't take too long. Once this is done loading, it marks that the overview has been visited. And that is that's the pink line there, visited MR overview. So the next thing that it does is it looks for a note, and it's going to wait until this appears on screen, which is why there could be a delay between the page loading and the comment loading. Now, in this case, the MR is very small. There's only one comment, so it's almost instant, but it looks for this comment right here. And this comment is attached to a diff file. And so as soon as this comment is available, it scrolls down to it. And that's the next marker, is a scroll to comment. And that's the blue one. So as soon as the page is done loading, it marks that the overview page is done loading, which in our case, in our very small MR, visiting the page and it being done loading are essentially the same. As soon as it finds that note element, it scrolls to it, and that's the orange line here. So it scrolls to the overview note. So it scrolls down here, and then the next thing that it does is it clicks this file name. It clicks this YAML file. And that'll take us over to the changes tab. So it clicks this and waits for the page to complete loading. And sometimes this can also take quite a while. And of course, for ours, it's pretty small because we have 2 files, very few changes, and a comment. We clicked the link and it scrolled us down to this comment. And as soon as that happens, as soon as the page is done loading, it marks our last stopwatch, which is the screen line here, jump to diff attached to note. So once that click has happened and we've come over to the changes tab, we've scrolled to the comment, that last marker is marked. And then the results are reported. So that's it for the new user journey. Of course, this is read-only for now. At the moment, we don't have the ability to authenticate to the application and do more interesting things like leaving a comment or creating MRs. But as soon as we have those capabilities, we will add those. But right now, it's a load and jump to the diff. So that's useful for sort of what's going on here.